I have to tell you how obsessed I was with Dido. I stopped talking to one of my closest friends for a week because he made fun of her. He really thought he hurt me very badly because he started apologizing on text and like started phoning and stuff like that.
So
And he's
yeah,
like, "I'm
he
so
basically
sorry,"
gave you
and I
a white flag. Hey everybody, welcome to a very special episode of Crossover Event, a show where nerds collide, where we interview guests who have amazing nerd ambitions and also nerd credibility. Sometimes they don't. And then we have Kunal Rao.
This is the best introduction ever. By the way, I'm a nerd on many levels because I'm also like a CA, so I like things like Excel sheets and stuff like that. So
Wow.
my my expanse of nerdhood is pretty wide.
I
Like
love
the
Excel
you know
sheets.
the
I'm a big fan.
yeah, Excel sheets are amazing. So we're going to talk about Excel sheets today.
Damn it.
Great. So today's
I'm not
episode is about
prepared.
Excel sheet.
It's been
I'm
changed.
sure we'll reach there.
No,
I'm
no.
sure we'll reach there. One second. The subject that you have picked today is not too far away from as nerdy as it gets. So yeah, sorry. Like as in the sense that what we usually talk about is like, okay, cool. Nisha and I are going to talk about fiction podcasts. Sasha is going to talk about
Right.
Tinku comics. Kunal
Right.
Rao is going to talk about Dido. I love
Yeah.
it.
Like when I first heard Dido, it actually was at a time when I was really troubled because I was studying for my CA exams. Okay, so this is a good reason to be troubled and suddenly find an excuse to just dive into an artist because you find them so unique. I basically was obsessed with Dido for like a good 5 years. I was properly in love with her, as you would when you're a young 21-year-old child. I remember when I was studying for my CA inter exams in 2001 or whatever. And those days I used to walk down to Rhythm House, okay, and just once in a week I would just try and pick out a new album or just basically get my head out of like the CA cost accounting and all that shit. And I randomly came across this album cover. I was like, I don't know, this looks familiar. I looked at the song list and I'm like, this sounds familiar. I feel like I've heard a couple of songs. So anyway,
Right.
got into my car. I slipped in the CD to drive home, and the drive home is about 5 minutes away, maybe 6-10 minutes away, right? And I listened to the first song, which was Here With Me, and I'm like, whoa, that's an interesting sound. That's very unusual, and yet it's familiar. I don't know what is it about this. I've heard this before. And I'm driving home, and then like the second song comes out on, and I think it's All You Want. And I was like, whoa, that's a great opening riff. And I'm supposed to take this U-turn on Marine Drive to get to my house. And I'm like, I'm not going to take this U-turn. I'm going to keep driving because I want to hear the rest of this album. And I kept driving all the way from Rhythm House. I was like, I'll take a U-turn at Chowpatty. And then I think I reached Thank You is the sixth song in the album. I'm not sure. I was like, okay, I need to hear. And I just kept going, and I kept driving all the way up to Mahalakshmi just to hear the album. And then finally I came back and like, wait, Thank You. This is a song that I know. Because first it was like, whose voice is this? I've heard this voice. I don't know what it is. So I had heard Thank You, and I had heard Here With Me on Roswell. And both of them have these really
Right.
unusual like sounds that it's just that sound was so different, and her voice was like this. It was honey, man. It's beautiful. She got a beautiful voice. And then, I like, okay, I need to look this up. And then I started Googling shit and whatnot. And I was hooked, man. That first album, I was just hooked. I got onto a message board, dude. That was back in the day when there was no social media. Well, message boards was social media,
Forums.
right?
Yeah.
Forums,
The forums,
exactly.
yeah,
The
of
forums,
course.
yeah. Dude, I was on that every day. I made friends internationally on the message boards, and we exchanged email IDs, and we started chatting with each other. I was the mod. I was moderator on her message board for like 6 months. I was that obsessed.
You were
This
an
is
OP,
hardcore
dude.
nerdiness.
You were admin.
Yeah. I
Love
was mod, dude. I had the funny. I have this hilarious story about my name. My handle. The name on the message board was KX. So basically, Dido used to sign off all her messages to her fans as like DX. So that was my handle, KX, because I was like, that's how Dido signs her name. So I'm
And
gonna
also,
do
that's
that.
how early you were in the game that you got KX without putting
Yeah,
underscore.
By the way, from her message board, I discovered Gem because she had very similar music. I discovered Sarah McLachlan because I had not heard her.
Sarah McLachlan. Yeah, she's also, Dido's a huge Sarah McLachlan fan also.
It was weird to talk about because I was like, yeah, people are going to think I'm a little bit lame or whatever. But here I am 20 years later. Boom.
No, it's great, man.
I still like her, man.
The free days of the internet of yore.
The free days. with no toxic masculinity judging your tastes.
Don't know about that. Don't know about that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very weird time. And then in my final exams, which is 2003, she released Life for Rent. And I was just
Such a
like,
good
I was
fucking
like,
song.
freaking, this is because we had seen samples and all that stuff on the message board and blah blah blah.
Oh
And
my
it was just,
god!
I was
Love it.
that,
Like, wow,
I was
she's
that.
finally putting out Life for Rent.
She's finally doing it. She's finally doing it.
Oh
And
my
I was
god,
like,
love this.
and so by the way, this is a very interesting thing because at that time, like music wasn't really accessible as much in India. Like Western music wasn't really accessible here as much. So on the date of her release, which I knew what it was, I don't remember it now, but it was like probably at 1st September or whatever it was, her album was supposed to drop internationally. Okay. And I was like, yeah, it's not gonna release in India. Like we're gonna get this like maybe a year later or something like that. Or so I thought. I was like, you know what? Let me just walk across to Groove. If a few of you guys remember what Groove was.
I'm loving these like rhythm house, groove.
Groove.
Why
You know
don't
what?
you
Let
why
me
don't you
just
explain what to Gen Z what rhythm house and groove
Rhythm
was?
House, dude. Rhythm House was the OG song sampling room because I used to go to a listening post, right? Where you had 3 albums that that the owners of Rhythm House would be okay. I think we should put up these albums on the listening post, and you can listen
Man,
to
I
an
love
album
those
for
things,
free.
dude.
CDs, man, cassette tapes.
Man, I
It was
loved
good
being
time.
in the company of music for like more than, like not at home or not on my phone, but in a
That's
physical kind
exactly what
of
it is.
analog
That's
space. Like in
exactly.
Dubai, I don't know you remember like Virgin Megastore and
I
like going
remember.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just
By the
like it
way,
was awesome,
I
man.
lived
Yeah.
in Dubai for 2 years. In my first week, the first thing I did was go to a Virgin store because I
Oh
wanted to see
yeah,
what
see,
music
see.
is available in Dubai that is not available in India. And I think I bought 15 CDs and I just binged,
Yeah,
like
it was a
it's
treasure trove. I
Man,
remember.
I love what you said. You're surrounded by music. That's exactly that amazing. You just walk into any aisle and I discovered classical music from Rhythm House. I was like, you know what? I need to give a listen to this Beethoven. I need to give a listen to Mozart. And I would pick
This
up
Beethoven
CDs and
guy, I swear, there's something here.
I'm a
but
moderator on a Beethoven forum, sir.
really, that would
Yeah.
be amazing. Name one song.
He's like, check out these new stills that have just been painted.
Hey, even Beethoven couldn't name songs, okay? You can't ask me to name a song because even Beethoven just went like, I guess I'll just call them all numbers. This is number 1.
Number 4.
Concerto number 4.
When
Yeah.
you hear Fury,
Okay,
do you just think like the elevator doors are opening now?
Yeah.
Right. So I was like, international release of Life for Rent album, and I'm like, I think it was 1st September if I remember correctly. It would be amazing if that date is right. And then I was like, it's not gonna happen. Then another 3 days later, you know what? Let me just walk across to Groove and see. So I walked across to Groove, and it's like I walked in to the store, and it's the first thing: new releases, Life for Rent, Dido, and I'm like. Picked it up, walked across, and yeah.
I just want to read out these lyrics from the chorus of Life for Rent.
Oh,
Tell
I
me if
love
something
it.
is not
So
oof.
yeah,
No,
But if
Kunal,
my
can
life
you
is for
quote it?
rent,
it's been a while. If my life is for rent and I can't and I don't something to buy and
and I don't learn to buy,
learn to
well,
buy. And
well,
don't
I,
there's nothing more. I'm trying to remember the freaking song, man. It's been so
okay,
long.
let me hit you with the lyrics, okay? Because these lyrics are special
So
as far
good.
as I'm concerned. I think they're amazing. But if
They're
my
really
life
good.
is for rent and I don't learn to buy, well, I deserve nothing more than I get because nothing I have is truly mine. It's like nothing I
Nothing.
have is truly mine.
For me, that was a growth from album 1 to 2. Like album 1 was sound wise incredible. Album 2, I think she sort of experimented or whatever, and she wanted to tone down, she wanted a little more electronic, but her songwriting was just like significantly better. Like, and you just see the variety that she's written about. Like, so for example, See the Sun is about depression. You see Don't Leave Home is about drugs. You see Mary's in India is about infidelity, and you just read these lyrics, and she's written them really, really well. Because like the flip that's there in a song called Mary's in India, of course, the Life for Rent is a great track because it's just so like, what are you doing with your life, bitch? Like, it's a great track. And then I'm like, songwriting, interesting. I didn't realize that's like adding so much value to the, to the genre. But yeah,
Yeah, no,
I
I think
enjoyed it, man.
Yeah, man. I think she was really special. One of my favorite things was when she did that song with A.R. Rahman in 127 hours, If I Rise.
If I Rise, I
Forget
didn't
about
like
that.
it much, but yeah, I
I
mean, she
actually
did
love
it.
that song.
Yeah.
I
I thought it was
love that
cool.
song.
I think by then I had trailed off Dido. I think I had like sort of like, because I heard a third album.
I came back to it, yeah, because of that
That's
song. But
interesting.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Desert Island. Give us your top five Dido songs.
They're all going to be from the first album, but I would say All You Want, Here With Me, Thank You, Closer, oddly. And it's probably My Life.
What about Mary's in India? Can I read the first antara of it?
Oh, yeah, go
Yes,
for
please.
it.
As we call it here. Sorry. Danny is lonely because Mary is in India now. She said she'd call, but that was 3 weeks ago. She left all her things, well, her books and her letters from him. And as the sun rises on Mary, it sets on him.
Now read the last verse.
You probably never got a chance to see. Don't worry, Mary, because I'm taking care of Danny and he's taking care of me. I think
Twist.
So it's a twist, yeah. The verse before says that the sun, because as the sun sets on Mary, it rises on him. So she's basically flipped it, saying that, hey man, he's messing around with me.
Like another song that's similar by the poet Avril Lavigne says that, sorry girl, you could not see the man that boy could be. We are
Good
more
boy.
than just good friends. This is how the story ends.
Totes.
boom.
Because he was a
Amazing.
skater boy. But you know,
Yeah, he actually
I have to tell you how obsessed I was with Dido. I stopped talking to one of my closest friends for a week because he made fun of her. I literally did that. So
Now you can just tell him that
he
who has
knows.
an episode on crossover event talking about Dido. all right, cool. So, Kunal, that is your take on Dido.
Yeah, she's amazing. I still don't like her last 3 albums.
Do you want to give a message to Dido in case she sees this on Twitter?
My life goal, one of my life goals that I haven't yet achieved, is to watch her live, and I hope that I can do that someday. That's it.
Amazing, dude. I'm sure she'd love to know that she has like fans,
Young fans.
young fans.
Myself.
You know,
One might even call them stans.
One might call them stans.
you're a stan.
Well done.
You're a Dido stan.
Good.
All right,
good
cool.
call.
It's time for the hot takes section of this show where we're going to
Hot
throw
cakes
you
is what I want.
not hot cakes.
Oh,
Hot cakes.
yeah.
One second. Hot takes, where we throw
Okay.
subjects from pop culture right at your face.
Kunal, what is your favorite Toy Story movie?
I have not.
Tell us, Kunal.
But I will tell you in 1 week, because that's when I will finish watching all.
Kunal,
four
you
Toy
haven't
Story
seen the
movies
Toy
for
Story
first time.
films?
Hold
I have
on,
not.
wait. No. It's okay. Don't listen to this.
Wait, who's that?
Okay, that's Buzz. Okay, Kunal, what is your favorite Spider-Man movie?
I think honestly, it's the original, the first one with this guy. With
A man after our own heart.
what's his name?
Tobey Maguire?
Tobey
Maguire.
Maguire.
Yeah, because I think because it was so, like, when it came out, it was just, oh wow, what the hell is this? What are these visuals? Amazing, outstanding. And I think they got the balance with Green Goblin and all that stuff did really well.
Tintin versus Asterix. Which camp are you in?
Asterix, mainly because when I was young and I used to Tintin, I was afraid of adventure as a genre of things, and Tintin is very heavily into adventure, and like, you don't know where he's gonna be, you know what's gonna happen to him, and it used to bring me a lot of anxiety. And I look back now and I'm like, oh wait, that's called general anxiety syndrome, and I'm like, oh okay, now I get it. But Asterix was more like jokey and funny and like punchy, and the names and the stories and the wars and the fights, it was just, I just liked Asterix more. Yeah,
The fact that Tintin gave you anxiety is
it
just,
did.
like,
That's insane. And also,
it really did. Like, you know, there's this.
and yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. You go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that there are a number of things that you wouldn't consider but give me a lot of anxiety. There's like this game called Zelda, The Legend of Zelda, The Breath of the Wild, which was one of the best games that was released on Nintendo. And I had to stop in the middle of that game because it gave me like solid anxiety, and I just couldn't finish it. So yeah, it comes in the weirdest
Here
kind
it
of.
comes, man. I used to watch like movies like what's it called? The Journey to the Center of the Earth, and you watch all these these really adventure. Like even that story about a dog having his adventure and it's from his point of view. But I used to be like, oh my god, what's gonna happen to that poor thing, that poor dog? I can't watch this. I'm just gonna take a break. Like
A
it's
Dog's
that
Journey.
A Dog's Journey. That's the one.
Let me ask you this: have you seen the movie The Justice League?
I skimmed through it.
Okay.
Like I watched it
Interesting.
in bits and bobs, and it came on TV did it come on TV? I can't remember. Or I watched it on my laptop or whatever, and I was like, eh.
That's the right reaction. What do you think of the
Yeah.
Snyder Cut situation, though?
Cool, like good. I mean, good that you can try and fix it or whatever they want to do with it. But I don't think it's gonna make a difference. Honestly, I don't think it's gonna turn any heads, because I think the main you already know this, but I think the main problem is that the whole vibe of the franchise is just so dark, and it's just so like it's just trying to do this unnecessary macho masculine kind of shoot, and so the humor seems forced, and even when you look at Man of Steel and you just see the fight sequences of him doing this punch and this guy flies off like 10 kilometers and rams into a building, and I'm like, what are you doing? This is not enjoyable at all. You know what I mean? Like, so I think that's the basic problem with the franchise. So I don't know how much of a cut is gonna how much a Snyder cut is gonna fix on that.
But okay, last question for you. Give us
Yes.
your desert, since you, I believe, are associated with some quiz show in some way. Give us your top 3 desert island quiz shows.
But quiz shows. Okay, number 3. I'm gonna go backwards because suspense. Number 3, Mastermind. Like for sure, it's something that I started out with as a kid, and it stuck with me. That spotlight, the intensity. Nothing
Kunal, how did
can replicate that quiz show.
Mastermind not give you anxiety, dog?
Yeah.
It did, but they were only 2-minute rounds. So I would get out of it very quickly. Number 2 on my list is the Big Fat Quiz of Blank. I say blank because it's either the year or everything, both of which are just hilarious, just very, very good shows, great questions. And number 1 is this very indie, small kind of this quiz show that few people have heard of. It's called Geek Fruit Presents Why Would I Know That with Kunal Rao. It's a very, very interesting show, and I think it's a number 1 must watch for everyone.
Yeah.
All right, Kunal, thank you so much for being on Crossover Event, even though we
Sure
cross over
thing.
with you all the time. I was just thrilled to hear you talk about a subject as specific as Dido with so much passion. I feel like I'm going to be listening to Dido a lot more today. Can I ask you this, Kunal? Okay, as a last favor to us, will you create for us, just text us a list of your curated Dido mixtape, and we're going to create a playlist and put it out.
That's a brilliant idea. I shall do that. I will do that on Spotify.
Done
and I will
and
send it to
done.
you guys.
Amazing.
All right.
Thank you so much, Kunal Rao.
Thanks, guys. Have fun.
Or as they call you, KX.